This podcast discusses topics related to cults, including manipulation, psychological abuse, coercion, exploitation, and other forms of harmful behavior. Listener discretion is advised. Some episodes may contain descriptions of traumatic experiences, violence, sexual abuse, and mental health issues. If you are sensitive to these topics or have a history of trauma, please take care while listening. If you or someone you know is currently in a cult or experiencing abuse, please seek support from someone you trust, a mental health professional, or the authorities. Welcome to How Did We Get Here, the podcast where we dive in and dissect the world of infamous and current cults and unearth the hidden psyche of their leaders. I am Emily, your guide in this journey and a psych nurse by profession. That being said, I am not formally diagnosing anybody with anything in this show. I'm only coming from my experience and research when I talk about mental disorders or other psychological phenomena. Every week, we will examine the often overlooked allure of the macabre that has lured countless individuals into their fold. Together, we will delve into infamous cults like the Manson family, the People's Temple, and lesser-known ones that just might be springing up in your neighborhood. Everything flows and everything goes, especially in the Source family. A restaurateur registered as a deadly weapon finds himself leading a huge California cult. How did we get here? The Source family was more than just a commune or a religious group. It was a lifestyle, a philosophy, and for its members, a transformative journey. But what made this group so unique, and why does its story continue to captivate us decades later? Let's dive in. To understand the Source family, we need to start with its charismatic leader, Jim Bakker, also known as Father Yod. Born in Cincinnati in 1922, Bakker's early life was a mix of the mundane and extraordinary. He served in the Marine Corps in World War II, shooting down 13 Japanese planes. Bakker claimed he had won a Silver Star, but no official records confirm this. He also mastered the art of judo, but did not use these skills for good. His hands were legally registered as deadly weapons, and rightfully so, as Bakker reportedly killed 2 men using judo. He moved to Los Angeles in the 1950s, where he auditioned for the role of Tarzan in a film. Bakker opened several successful health food restaurants when that didn't work out. Several famous people came to eat at his restaurants, including John Lennon, Woody Allen, Joni Mitchell, and Marlon Brando. But in the 1960s, amidst the rise of the New Age movement, Bakker's life took a turn that would change everything. Here's what a former Source family member had to say about Mr. Bakker. Father Yod was magnetic. He had this incredible presence and a vision of a better way to live. It was hard not to be drawn in. He was a dirty old man on a lust trip. In 1969, Bakker opened the Source restaurant on Sunset Boulevard, a health food haven that attracted celebrities and spiritual seekers alike. The restaurant reportedly brought in $10,000 a day. It was here that the seeds of the Source family were planted. But Bakker wasn't just serving organic meals. He was dishing out a new spiritual doctrine, blending elements of various religious traditions from Eastern mysticism to Western esotericism. He brought in Kundalini Yoga, which attracted many young followers as well. Bakker began calling himself Father Yod, and with a group of 140 followers, he established a communal lifestyle based on his teachings. Father Yod made himself look like God in one of Michelangelo's paintings. The Source families lived in a mansion in Hollywood Hills, practicing a unique blend of communal living, organic vegetarianism, and spiritual rituals. They recorded music, dressed in flowing robes, and followed a strict code of conduct, which included daily meditation and smoking marijuana. Father Yod enjoyed meditative sex with the young ladies of his cult, claiming many spiritual wives. Father Yod came up with a new set of 10 commandments. Father Yod's quote-unquote guideline commandments were as follows. Obey and live by the teachings of your earthly spiritual father. Love your earthly spiritual father more than yourself. Harm not one of your body parts by neglect, food, drink, or knife. Allow each vibration to complete its own cycle without interference. Possess nothing you do not need and share all you have. The man and his woman are one, let nothing separate them. Squander not thy creative force in lust, but come together only when the physical, mental, and emotional vibrations are in harmony with spiritual love. Each morning, join your vibration with the ascending currents of the universal life energy, using the keys that your earthly spiritual father has taught you. Do each act energetically, intelligently, truthfully, and lovingly. And finally, when these commandments are mastered, leave the house of your earthly spiritual father and do the work of your heavenly father. In addition, members of the Source family changed their last name to Aquarian, and some even went further and changed their first name too. One member, Isis Aquarian, kept her Source family name even after the group ended. This was Father Yod's mission statement to the world. We are here to create a new world and a new consciousness through love, purity, through discipline. Father Yod saw music as a way to share his teachings and thus formed a band. One of their albums was called Cahotek after the comet that soared through the sky the year it was released. I listened to some of their music, which is available on YouTube. Their music has this folky vibe, and I really like it. My favorite song of theirs is called Woman Beyond the Sun. The Source family recorded themselves playing the song in a video, and the band members are all wrapped in flowing robes and Christmas tree tinsel is in their hair. As I researched to learn more about the Source family band, I read from an article by The Guardian that the band recorded over 60 albums. Father Yod received $80,000 from a Hungarian Holocaust survivor as a gift, and he used it for instruments and recording materials. The original idea was for a healthy ice cream restaurant. The band would do most of its recording between 3 and 6 in the morning. Former members agreed that Father Yod was not the best musician, as he would randomly bang on drums and chant. By the early 1970s, the Source family had grown to around 140 members. They were not just a commune. They saw themselves as a spiritual family bound by a deep love and loyalty to Father Yod. But as with many utopian experiments, cracks began to appear. Critics of the Source family point to Father Yod's increasingly authoritarian rule and his controversial practices, including polygamy and his self-proclaimed status as a godlike figure. These traits could be indicative of narcissistic personality disorder. Narcissistic personality disorder is defined by 9 traits, and 5 of them are required for a diagnosis, according to the DSM-5. And these traits are common among cult leaders. A grandiose sense of self-importance, a preoccupation with fantasies of unlimited success, power, brilliance, beauty, or ideal love, a belief that he or she is special and unique and can only be understood by or should associate other high-status people or institutions, need for excessive admiration, a sense of entitlement, an interpersonally exploitative behavior, a lack of empathy, envy of others or a belief that others are envious of him or her, a demonstration of arrogant and haughty behaviors or attitudes. Father Yod showed a sense of self-importance by believing that he was the God the people of his time needed. I would argue that keeping a bunch of young ladies around to have sex with them and only claiming them as his wives when the police were involved would demonstrate a sense of entitlement, lack of empathy, and need for excessive admiration. His spreading of messages through music and claiming he had the best ideas for living show off the traits of fantasies and ultimate power and ideal love. The Source family's idyllic image started to fracture, especially after a move to Hawaii in 1974. This move happened as a result of allegations of child endangerment. Father Yode had many underage girls in his fold and had fathered children with them. One baby was born in distress, and he claimed to have saved it by chanting and singing over the baby. Another newborn in the group got a staphylococcus infection and nearly died before being brought to UCLA Medical Center. The child survived, and doctors notified the police of child neglect. This caused Father Yode to believe the government was after him, as many cult leaders end up believing, and he fled to Hawaii. He moved the Source family to the island of Kauai, which nearly bankrupted the group. Father Yode wanted a fancy boat and a private plane, but no money was coming in. The cult leaders begged his followers to get jobs and cut their hair to blend in with society. The ultimate blow to the group came in 1975 when Father Yode died in a hang gliding accident. He decided to join another member of the group in a hang gliding competition. There's a video out there of this tragic attempt. Father Yode had never done this activity before and did not try to learn. He leapt off of a cliffside and broke his back. Cult members brought him to the home and prayed over him, but he ultimately died. They held onto his body and chanted over it for 3 days. Before this incident, he had told one of his wives that it was appropriate for her to wear black that day. Some members speculated that this perhaps was a suicide attempt. Without their leader, the Source family began to disband. Many members struggled to reintegrate into mainstream society, but some still love and believe in him. Isis Aquarian helped put together a documentary decades later. Now that we know the content of what happened, let's look at the process. How did we get here? Jim Bakker started in a psychologically low place. He was a World War II veteran, probably traumatized by combat. He was a convicted criminal and a failed actor. These 3 factors made Jim Bakker want to build a narrative that he was the best. The success of his restaurants probably helped him develop that even further and made him into the cult leader that he is known as today. Today, the Source family is often remembered for its music and bold experiment in alternative living. Their story raises important questions about the search for meaning, the power of charismatic leadership, and the fine line between enlightenment and exploitation. As we conclude today's episode, let's take a moment to remember the legacy of the Source family. They were dreamers and seekers who sought a new way of living in a turbulent world. Despite facing many challenges along their journey, their story remains fascinating and continues to inspire. Thank you for joining me on this journey into the heart of the Source family. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with your friends. Follow me on X, TikTok, and Instagram at emmycast1018. Join me next time on How Did We Get Here, as we explore another fascinating chapter in the history of alternative spirituality. Our next episode takes us to France, outer space, and then across the world as Rael brings us aliens. Until then, stay curious and stay open-minded.